We are your home theater and AV questions answered. This is AVRant. Want your home theater or AV question answered by Tom and Rob? Send it to question@avrant.com. Welcome to AVRant. I'm Tom Andry, and I'm here with
Rob H.
Michael. Michael's in Sydney, Australia. So he's got a diagram that he's going to be sharing with us here, and some pictures, I suppose. I didn't see the pictures, I do see the diagram. Michael is building his theater and needs some advice. His mains and center and surrounds will all be in-wall B&Ws. The CWM 7.5s with 4 CCM 382 for Atmos positions. His receiver is a Marantz SR 6011. Look at the diagram. Are there any concerns about the planned placement of the mains? Is the width too wide, the height too low, the width too high? Well, you can't. How much closer can you get them? Because isn't that the screen right there? So
I mean, logistically speaking, I don't know where else he's going to put in-wall front, left, and right speakers. I agree. Like the way he has it planned out in his diagram, he has sort of what would you call that? There's like columns on the sides of his room where I'm assuming some heater ducts or something go in there, right? But
that's probably just a built-in is what I was thinking. This is a theater room. That might be like shelving or something like that.
But yeah, the area where his screen will go is farther back than this area of the wall that's brought forward a little bit on either side. It wouldn't make sense to me to put in-wall speakers in that recessed area because you'll get some horrible reflections trying to do that. Now, I worked out, so he put everything in millimeters because he's in Australia, and I'm okay with millimeters being in Canada, but I still think in feet and inches when it comes to planning theaters. But it turns out that his front, left, and right speakers are going to be about 9.5 feet apart, which is pretty wide. But he's going to be sitting roughly 11 feet away from eyes to screen, which means he's still well within the Dolby recommendation. The Dolby recommendation is that you are anywhere from 22.5 to 30 degrees to the left and right of straight ahead center. And he's still well within that. So even though his screen isn't going to be that wide, so his front, left, and right speakers are going to be a little distance to either side of his screen, because it looks like he's still going with a flat panel, not a projector in this case. That may be slightly less than ideal, but you're still within the Dolby guidelines, so I don't have a problem with the width. I think that's okay. Yeah? Yeah. I mean, we have to take logistics into account.
They just seem it's going to be very wide. It's the problem you're going to run into is probably your panning from left, center, right.
Yeah, there's going to be a little gap between where the audio is in the far left and the image on the far left of the screen. But I mean,
so he asked if the height is
sometimes
too
you have to
low.
compromise, right? Yeah.
The height is, I mean, you want them as close to ear. You want the tweeter at ear height. So
yeah.
Is that I can't tell from all these millimeter things here.
He said the top edge of the speaker a little over 4 feet off the ground. Now, he was actually asking if that's too low. I'm like, that might be a little bit too high, although the tweeter on these speakers is not right at the top edge of the speaker. So he's got the tweeter of his front, left, and right speakers roughly 3.5 feet off the ground. I'm like, that seems fine to me.
A lot of time in Australia, the furniture is awfully low.
Oh, okay.
It's got a European sort of bent to it. Not all of them, but a lot of them
it might actually be a touch high.
It might be a touch high. Yeah, you might be able to lower them down a little bit if you can. I don't think it'll be too high. You want your tweeters to be at ear height if at all possible.
Yeah.
He asked, will having the center be mounted lower than the mains cause issues with worth worrying about?
He's got his center about 3 feet high.
That's not gonna be a problem.
That seems fine. I mean, again, logistically, it has to go below your flat panel. That's how it's going to go with a flat panel. That's super common. I mean, you're in good company. Almost everybody has their center speaker lower or higher than their front, left, right.
Mine's at least 2 feet lower than the tweeters. That's 2 feet difference between them, at least. I'm guessing. I don't know. I can't really tell.
So yeah, I'm not seeing any big problems that are really making me worry here, Michael. I think your plan so far is
looks
again.
Good.
If it were absolutely everything planned from scratch, you didn't have any logistic concerns, okay, maybe we fiddle with some stuff, but based on the logistics that you have with this room that exists already, and you're not going to completely reconfigure your house to do this, it's good.
I've spent this whole time thinking that table or whatever that black box is where he was sitting. I'm like, dude, you're going to be sitting so far. Oh, the recliner's all the way at the back. I didn't read it. I saw the rectangle and thought that's where he's sitting.
No, that's like an ottoman or something, I believe.
Okay, it makes more sense now. It's much finer than I thought it was. Okay, it's much finer than I thought it was. All right, let me scroll down to the bottom here. Without doing any research, he bought an Acoustic Research RX-2512 subwoofer. What opinion do we have of this sub, and will it be adequate for his room size? It is a 12-inch driver with a rear slot port, which, according to their little write-up, was like, it said something like with their famed slot port. I'm like, oh, you guys invented it? It's famed or something? I don't understand. It's rated down to 28 hertz.
28 hertz.
Your room
is its minus.
Your room is not super duper huge. It's
no, 13 and a half roughly by 15 feet. Yeah. So I mean, you're barely over 1,500 cubic feet, which means you're essentially in a small room. Output wise, I have no concerns. Would it be
extension wise?
I mean, it's possible, but you're in Australia. The selection and the prices there not as good as they are in the US, right?
Yeah,
so
that is true. That is a concern. Now, will it fill your room with bass? I believe it will. Mm-hmm. I believe. Could you have done better? I don't know. I don't know what how much you paid for this thing.
For the price is the question, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know what else you have available to you. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you were here in America, I'd be like, dude, you could have gotten this, and this, and it would have played lower, and it'd been about the same price or something. But it is not an inadequate sub for your room.
Agreed. Yeah, so
that does not sound like a very good endorsement.
No, I mean, factually, you're missing the lowest of the lowest of the low, all right? The subwoofer's just not producing it in the first place, so it can't do it. But for the range of frequencies that it is producing, I have no worries about its output capability in your room. So,
yeah. If you were here, I would be like, yeah, and you would ask me, can I have an SB1000 in this room? I would say, yes, you can. Mm-hmm. SB1000 would be just fine. Sealed box, very small, hits down to 20 and 19 or something. I don't know. It hits down very low. It would have been fine, but you don't have access to that. So if your question is, will this make bass and not try to self-destruct? It will make bass in your room and it'll be just fine. Want your question answered? Send it to question@avrant.com. This is AVRant.
Now go out and listen to something.